Well, hello and welcome to the Building Excellence podcast. Well, this is all about inspiring growth and sharing positivity. Well, my name is DeWayne Walker, and this is my lovely, my lovely.
You
Will
are,
you please tell them your government
you
name?
are nuts. I am Devin Walker. Silly.
So throughout all of our podcasts, you will hear me refer to her as my lovey. Okay, so now y'all know who she is and her government name, Devin. Let me talk to you about what our subject matter is today. Well, we're
hmm
going to continue on our series of just building excellence in your parenting. All of our podcasts are going to be about building excellence or inspiring growth and
Yeah.
sharing positivity in some area of your life. Sometimes it's focused on your marriage or relationships, leadership, sometimes even your business. But today we definitely focused on parenting.
hmm
And right now, what we want to do is talk about the different phases of parenting. We hope that you're able to review the previous two podcasts where we talked about the importance of creating values
Yeah.
and implementing values into your parenting.
hmm
In those podcasts, we talked about what values were, and we told you what our values were in case you wanted to adopt those, and we also taught you how to implement them. And we actually teased a little bit about the different phases of parenting. But today we're going to dive deep into it because
Yeah.
we think the phases of parenting, knowing them, knowing what to expect from them, knowing the goals and how we should lead through them is so important. So we did our best to take notes because we're huge note takers. If
Yes.
anybody knows us, we're huge note takers. We typically have our phones out just like this. Anytime we're around wisdom, we want to
Yeah.
capture it. So we encourage you to right now grab your phone or grab your computer and take a few notes.
Take some notes.
Lovey, do we believe that we're parenting experts?
Absolutely not.
We do not. But what
Capital
we
A.
do try to do, guys, very intentionally, is put ourselves around parents that have done well, that their children are doing well, and we just want to learn wisdom from them. So everything that you hear from us is really just a combination of wisdom of things that we've learned from them or things that maybe we've done and implemented that we like the results.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's kind of get to our notes here. So there's three stages of or phases of parenting that we really choose to embrace in our family, and the three phases are this. Phase one is the discipline phase.
hmm
That phase is from 0 to 5, and then phase two is the values phase, and the values phase is from 6 to 9,
hmm
and then the last phase is the development and guiding phase. That phase is from 10 to 19. Now, guys, those ages are approximate ages because everybody's child develops at different speeds, but that's kind of a general guide. So let's just dive into phase one, the discipline phase. So, one of the biggest notes that I took down here was what's the win of the discipline phase? I think it's important that every parent knows that the win of the discipline phase, when we're talking about the how do we lead through the different parenting phases, the win is this: to have your children be at a place where they, number one, have a healthy fear of consequence.
hmm
Okay, they need to have a healthy fear of consequence. And then number two, they need to respect your authority. Those are the top two things that you really want to make sure that your child embraces at that age.
Yeah.
And I always love talking about our wins and fails. So, Lovey, let's just take our last child. We have three children. So I guess do this. Tell everybody, in case they didn't watch the first two episodes, tell everybody what our children's names and ages are really quick.
Okay, so if you didn't watch the first two, we have Dion. She's our oldest. She is 14. We have Desiree. She's our middle. She is 12. And we have DJ, who is about to be 10 next month.
Okay. What I want to do is let's talk about DJ for a moment. He was the our last child to go through through this discipline
It
phase.
was.
Tell me about some different areas or a area that DJ struggled with from a discipline standpoint? What were some of his issues?
I would say for sure his tantrums. Those tantrums were wild, embarrassing.
Why would
Um,
he throw a tantrum?
oh, if anyone was coming my way, he threw a tantrum. I don't know if he thought someone was going to harm me, like this is my mommy, I don't share her. Yeah, very protective at a very early age.
So, did you like him throwing tantrums?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So, whenever you saw him throwing tantrums and you wanted him to stop, what were some things you tried to do to make him stop that didn't work?
That didn't work, talking.
Okay. I want to talk directly to all the moms out there. Okay. If you have a son, I'm going to give you a hack. Sons like attention. Okay. So if you want us to stop doing something, the last thing you want to do is give us more attention. Okay. Talking ain't gonna do it.
Don't talk.
Talking, we're gonna be like, hold on, we do this, you gonna talk to us? We're gonna keep doing it. So that's just a quick little hack. That's a quick little hack.
Don't
Okay.
talk.
So sorry. So talking didn't work. What did work? What did you do that made him begin to respond to you telling him to not throw tantrums?
Basically, I just had to let him know the stove was hot.
Okay, explain the stove is hot. What does that mean?
Okay, so when you put your hand on a stove, you immediately react. So I had to let him know early on, like these tantrums don't get you far. They actually take you back. So, you know, I didn't use my hand to discipline him. I used this special spoon that we had. It was like cute little wooden spoon. It wasn't cute to him, but it was cute to me. And I wrote on it and his name was Mr. Rod. And so Mr. Rod would come out when we threw a tantrum. And so, yeah.
I truly remember that moment vividly. He, prior to Mr. Rod being invented, he was used to his mama telling him, "Stop, stop, boy." On this day, she pulled that spoon out. It was a red spoon, and gave him one little slap. Pop! Not only did the tantrum stop, it's like his whole world stopped. He was just like, okay. Again, the analogy, the stove was hot. Something happened to him that he said, okay, there was a consequence that I don't want to have again.
No.
And the person who did it, I guess I need to respect because I don't want that to happen again.
Hmm.
So I think that's a great example of just the importance of the discipline phase. Yeah, as a parent, it's important for you to find what works for you.
Yeah.
Because for me as a dad, I was great with a tool my mom used to get me in line as a child. She used to pinch me and twist. We kind
Oh,
of talked about
no.
that in one of our previous podcasts.
Yes.
That's all I needed because anytime we'll be at the grocery store, we'll be at church. She didn't need to say nothing. She didn't need to get loud. It was a discreet pinch and twist.
Pinch.
If I screamed, she twisted harder. If I acted up, she twisted harder. The only thing that made her stop was for me to hush up and do what she told me to do.
Mhm.
I didn't also mind using my hand to spank, So again, at the age of the child is very important. So again, it's up to you to choose what you believe is the appropriate discipline measure. But the key is the stove is
Hot.
hot.
And to
Okay.
discipline in a healthy
In a
way.
healthy way. That's good. Discipline in a healthy way. That's
Mhm.
really good. So the next phase that I want to bring up is the value phase. We're not going to dive so much into this because our first two podcasts are really all about the
Yeah.
importance of values and implementing them. But I do want to tell you the wins. Okay. So the win of the value phase is this. It's number one, teaching your children what you believe. They need to know what you believe, or they're going to believe that you believe what the world believes.
Mhm.
So if you have a certain set of beliefs that's different than TV, that's different than social media, that's different than how their friends are going to act at school, then I think it's very important for you to teach them what you believe. A
Agreed.
number two thing that values do, it teaches them how to behave. So here is how we behave in different environments.
Mhm.
Here's how we talk. Here's how we act. Here's how we lead. So it's very important to do that. And then the last thing that the value stage does, it teaches them the reasons behind some of the things that you do. So why do you do what you do? Or why do certain rules exist? So that's the value phase. So let's get to our third and final phase. So I think we'll probably spend the rest of our podcast on this one. And so the third and final phase is this. It's the development and guiding phase. This is a phase that we're just entering into as parents. Remember, the development and guiding phase is from 10 to 19. And so we actually, all three of our kids are now getting into this phase.
Wow.
We just can't thank enough all the people who went before us and told us the things that we're about to tell you, because they changed everything for us as parents. There hasn't been one moment that came by that we weren't ready for. Like
Mhm.
we had values and we have pre-decided what we're going to do in response to some of these things. So let's dive in. So what's the win for the development and guiding phase? The win is very simple. It's two R's: responsibility and relationship.
So important.
Those are the two things. You want to teach your kid responsibility with you and responsibility without you. Okay. And then you want to make sure that no matter what, that you're leading in a way that you have a phenomenal relationship. Okay. Those are the wins. So now let's talk about what are some things that we want to do during this phase. Okay. The number one thing, guys, that we're trying to build in this phase is trust. Trust. I want to go right to examples because I think this is a hilarious season because it's so real. Um, Lovey, what's something that our children, let's just take our oldest two daughters.
Okay.
What is something that our oldest two daughters asked us to trust them with
Oh my
in the
gosh.
past week?
They've asked us to trust them with social media.
Whew.
Mm, mm, mm,
Social
mm, mm, mm,
media.
mm, 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 mm,
Okay,
mm, mm,
Lovey, I
mm,
have a few questions.
mm.
When was the first time they asked you if they can be on social media? Approximately how long ago?
Um, Maybe 3 years, 3, 4 years. No, about 3 years ago.
Okay, did you trust them? No, no, no. What did you say? Did you approve it or did you not approve it?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So
Absolutely
you
not.
didn't approve it 3 years ago.
No,
And so I guess it's safe to say that you didn't trust them with it
I
back
did not
then.
trust them.
So tell me, what were some reasons why you didn't trust them back then?
They didn't lead well.
What were,
They
keep
weren't
going.
leading well. We have a little attitude here and
Mm,
there, and they weren't ready.
mm. That's really good.
They weren't ready.
So what I like to do is let me dive into some of the very specific things that we talked about were important for them to be ready for social media.
Mhm.
Okay. We had five in total. Number one, we wanted them to be leading our values well. Okay. So if they were struggling with any of our values, because our values were just foundational. So if they were struggling in those values, we didn't think that they would um, be able to have social media. The second thing was we wanted to make sure that they had a great friend group.
Mhm.
Okay, because if we believe that if your friend group, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. So
Yeah.
friends were very important.
Bright friends, bright future.
Bright friends, bright future. Yeah, that was our saying as they were growing up. Bright friends, bright future. That's good, Levy. The second thing was school. We wanted to make sure that their grades were good and they were being good stewards of their grades. And back then, were all their grades good?
No.
So they were missing out on that. So back
Mhm.
then they had value issues. Back then they had friend issues that we
Mhm.
didn't approve of all their friends, and then also back then they had grade issues. A third thing was behavior. We wanted to make sure that their behavior was strong,
Mhm.
that they didn't have any issues with behavior of with authority anywhere. And were there behavioral issues back then?
Yes.
Oh man, okay. And so I told you those four, and the last thing was responsibilities at home. So we do give our children responsibilities at home,
Mhm.
and it's important that they lead their responsibilities at home well. We call them chores. You
Yes.
guys probably do too, and so they can't get social media if they didn't do their chores well, if their friends weren't good, their grades weren't good, their behavior wasn't good, and they weren't leading through our values.
Mhm.
So no, we didn't trust them.
No trust.
So this past conversation was very special
It was.
because this past year was a year that the kids built a lot of trust with
Mhm.
us. So not only did they like really knock all five of those areas out of the park. They built trust in every single area. They are, what were the report cards this year?
Straight A's.
Straight A's.
Everybody.
All of them had straight A's. Were there any discipline issues in the past year?
No.
No discipline issues. Do we approve all the friend group?
Yes.
Uh, are they taking care of responsibilities at home?
Yes.
And are they honoring our values?
Mhm.
So when they came and asked, so again, remember, they came and asked. So that's why relationships are so important, because you want them to ask instead of sneaking, right?
Mhm.
And they came and asked, and what did you say this time?
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, and let me see where your headspace
It's
is,
good.
and we can make a decision from there.
It's good. And so what was that conversation like? So let's talk about a few things that were in the conversation. Number one, it was what platforms, right?
Mhm.
And what platforms were you okay with?
Instagram and TikTok.
Okay.
I have my mind wrapped around those 2 platforms.
Another parenting hack. One of y'all, if you got two parents, if you're the only parent, then you need to be familiar with some form
Mhm.
of social media.
Yeah.
Okay. So for us, my lovey, she was the one that's really strong in social media. And we were only comfortable with the social media platforms that she was comfortable with.
Mhm.
And so those were the two she was comfortable with. There was one that you wasn't comfortable with. Which one was that one again?
Snapchat.
Okay. So tell us why you weren't comfortable with Snapchat.
If anybody is okay with receiving a message, whether it's typed out or a picture, and after you look at it, it disappears, that's an issue.
So this was a little bit of the conversation. Our children have begun to understand that every time that we give them another yes, that's another opportunity for them to build trust with us to
Mhm.
get the next yes. And so we'll come back to that in a minute. But one of the most important things about getting yeses and leading every moment well is having accountability. We begin training the kids on the importance of accountability, meaning bad things happen in the dark, good things happen in the light.
Mhm.
And if you're doing something that disappears, then that seems like a platform for you to do a whole bunch of things in the dark.
Sneaking.
And
Just
it was
sneaking.
funny whenever we mentioned that, the kids actually said that most of their people, really all the people that they knew that were on that platform that were their friends, were sneaking. They were doing things they shouldn't do. And they said, you know what? That is probably good that we're not on that because we
And
might
I will
end up
call
doing
them
something.
associates, not
Oh,
friends,
that's good. That's good. They were associates, people that they were
because
aware of in their school, on their
aware.
teams, stuff like that. That's really good. It's really
Exactly.
good. It's
You
really good.
know?
So that's just an example of the different opportunities
Mhm.
that your children have to build trust with you so that you can lead intentionally for them to get a yes. So let me wrap this segment up with some very important nuggets. One of the most important things that helped us in this phase is working backwards in our parenting. Understanding that at some moment at 18 or 19, our kids are probably going to want to leave the house. So we better lead in a way that we're comfortable with them leaving the house.
Mhm.
And then take a step back. At some point, they're going to want to go to prom. So you try to tell me I'm got to be good with them leaving the house, getting in the car, going wherever for during the day and the night. The only thing I got is a curfew. So at some point, we got to be okay with that. And then at some point, we got to be okay with them driving. So that means
Mhm.
you're getting in the car, going someplace where I'm not with you,
Yeah.
and I'm trusting that you're going to get there, drive there safely, and not do anything you're not supposed to do. And then on top of that, even before then, now you're thinking, okay, I need to be able to go to my friend's house or go to places like the mall or go bowling. Personally, we really appreciate different environments that are public,
Public place.
because those are, again, good things happen in the light, bad things happen in the dark. So we try to
Mhm.
limit opportunities for them to be in intimate settings. So, but at some point, we got to be comfortable with that. And then you take another step back, and then another step back is somewhere around social media. And so our kids understand that they're going to need to be comfortable with social media and lead that well. And they got to build trust with us, and then they can go to the next phase, and the next phase. And so again, you can even go backwards further from there. So they had to lead outside well. They had to come home. They had to be able to lead at the ball games well.
Ooh, lead outside.
Yeah. So outside's a whole other conversation, right?
Yeah.
Wish we had some more time to talk to you about that. So in summary, guys, it's important to embrace those three phases of parenting. I'm gonna summarize those once again. Hopefully you were taking notes. I have my notes pulled up here as well. So phase one, 0 to 5, the discipline phase. Phase two, 6 through 9, the values phase, and then phase three, 10 through 19, the development and guiding phase. Remember, the win for the discipline phase is for you to have a healthy fear of consequence and for them to truly respect your authority. And then in the values phase, it's important that they understand what you believe. It's important for them to understand how we behave. And then in the last phase, the development and guiding phase, it's all about relationship and responsibility. Well, I hope that this episode of Building Excellence blessed you. We're looking forward to so many more. So, talk to you guys soon. Building Excellence, where it's all about inspiring growth and sharing positivity. Talk to you soon.
Bye.